Welcome to Brother Owl's Garden. My name is Brian, and I honor your presence here today. I appreciate you stopping by. Just a brief note before we get into this episode. I want to thank all of the new subscribers. Thank you, I'm honored. And I've noticed that it's from a really vast array of international citizens. We have Nepal, Thailand, United States, Japan, Bhutan, Iran, Germany, France. So, welcome. It's my honor to have you as subscribers. I appreciate that very much. Today's topic is a short and sweet one, and it has to do with agreement. I will title this episode, Agreement is Not Required. The reason why this warrants an episode is because of the way things are today, especially online, in regards to opinions flying left and right, and not so much that the exchange of opinions is the issue, because it's not, but it's the absolute inability to handle the fact that people disagree with you or have a different view than you, is a more precise way of saying it. It's almost as if people are operating under the premise that agreement is the goal, and that, even more than that, agreement is required or we have a problem. Now, I know that there are always, cases on the peripheral where there are exceptions, but what I'm saying is that we must always be vigilant to the fact that agreement is not required. It's not required for friendships. It's not required for relationships in general at all. We are individuated, subjective entities who are amassing differing experiences. And so that, combined with our own personal nature, tendencies, programming, DNA, will lead to different conclusions. And sometimes it is frustrating when somebody does not agree with you, but it should never be anything more than that in regards to having differing views. When somebody is adamant that you agree with them, it's as if they're saying, if you don't think the same way that I think, then I'm going to label you some negative terms and declare that whatever it is you've arrived to as a conclusion is false and wrong and invalid. And what this does is, if it's pushed to an extreme, it demonstrates an insecurity and a fear in that person. And if you just take a step back and think that agreement was supposed by someone to be a prerequisite or a requirement, that in itself is already a misstep. So, we have different opinions. As the French say, vive la différence. There are cases where it is an issue. I understand that. But in general, agreement is not a requirement. It's also been said that one of the highest indicators of intelligence is the ability to examine and consider a viewpoint other than your own without embracing it or rejecting it. Or, as we should say these days, without it being taken emotionally and personally. So, keep that in your quiver of tools, especially if you're online or if you're at the dinner table with family. Agreement is not required. It's okay to disagree. It is okay to disagree and be agreeable. It sounds pretty basic, but it seems that we need to be reminded that today. So there's just a brief episode today called Agreement is Not Required. I hope you've enjoyed this rainy afternoon here in Thailand with me. Thanks for stopping by Brother Owl's Garden. And always remember to abide in thankfulness for your highest good in the most benevolent outcome.